California voters are going to wonder, like, how could this guy get scammed by a 26-year-old?
I don't know. I couldn't imagine ever a woman would be so deceitful, such a con. I've never seen these things in my life. But you know what? That dating world's pretty tough out there.
Welcome back to the Tara Palmeri Show. You have to be living under a rock to not have heard that there is a big gubernatorial election in California in 2026. And it's not just because the state has the largest economy in the United States, the fourth largest in the world, or that beautiful people make movies there. It's become a high-profile race because Kamala Harris might throw her hat into the ring. And according to all the polls, she is leading the pack by far. If she decides to jump into the race, a decision she'll make at the end of the summer, it would probably clear the field just based on her name ID alone.
She has no IQ, EQ, tone deaf. She lost that election.
That's Stephen Cloobeck, who not only sounds like Trump and seals his punchlines, he's also a centimillionaire real estate tycoon. And get this, he starred on a reality TV show too called Undercover Boss. And he likes young models who have gotten him in trouble in the past. We'll get into that later.
I'm rich and hard.
Take a listen to Stephen make his case. It's a fun one. Stephen, thanks for joining the show. I've got to say, you have a really hilarious slogan. California, get a clue. It's great.
Have you heard the song? It's on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Music.
Who produced it?
Well, actually, it was given to me as a gift. It was written for me by Jeff Ross, the Roastmaster General, another New Jerseyite.
Oh, damn.
And so I took it and I modified it, and then we had it recorded professionally by a friend of the family with a house band.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. Here I am trying to bum free music off the internet, and you have a whole band.
Well, we hired it out because, they wanted to remain anonymous, so it's under my name.
Cool. That's awesome. I guess we'll have to insert some of that music right now so everyone can hear, but we'll do that in post-production.
It's got a little Blink 182 feel to it. It's California vibe. Yeah, it's California vibe. It's good.
Okay, cool. I'm excited to hear it. Okay, so you've been described to me as California's Donald Trump. You're a real estate tycoon. You're an outsider.
Hospitality guy, yeah.
Hospitality, right? Diamond Resorts, Vegas resorts. Also, Trump had casinos. I think he still does, actually. Outsider.
No, he lost them. He's good at wrecking value. Value. I create value.
Distinguisher. But you're an outsider entering politics, got the glamorous lifestyle. How do you think the people of California are going to react to that comparison?
Well, it's interesting. I've grown up in California, but I'm not really an outsider. I've been involved in Democratic politics 39 years. I'm the product of Bill Clinton, mentor, Harry Reid. Harry Reid, I've known since I was 15. He's turned into my adopted father.
I know, but you're a donor. It's not like you've been working your way up as by way. I mean, Trump was a donor forever too.
But what I have a little bit differently is if you look at Brand USA, the Tourism and Travel Department of the United States, that's me. I've operated federally. I've operated state. I've operated local. I started as an activist. So behind the scenes, I've done federal work, state, local. I've created laws in many states. I've been a regulator and an adjudicator. So I've actually done the work. But I think in your
business, you have to be. Like, even Trump, he was always involved in local politics his entire career. You have to if you're in real estate. There's no other way.
But the difference is, being involved in local politics is different than actually serving. I mean, I reported to the White House.
Oh, wow. Which administration?
Obama. Brand USA was created in 2010 from the Travel and Promotion Act of 2009.
And you were a big Obama donor, right?
I've been a big donor to everybody.
Do you still talk to him?
I do on occasion. I speak with the President Clinton more often.
Are they pushing you to run for governor?
Everyone has. Everyone.
Really?
I mean, everyone has. I mean, because I'm experienced, because they know what I've done. I've actually solved a lot of the problems of politicians in the past. I mean, if you look at Clinton tried to create a travel czar during his reign. It didn't work. We did it under Obama. It's still around today. The Travel and Tourism Department accounts for 23% of the United States GDP.
Wow. So even though you would be going up against Kamala Harris, they're still like, go for it.
She has no IQ, EQ, tone deaf. She lost that election. Give me a break. That was hers to lose. Echo chamber did not pay attention to eggs, bread, milk, cheese, gas, and immigration. She's never signed the front of a check. Look, she's been battlefield promoted to all of her last jobs. That's the problem with the Democratic Party today. They've had no real bench. And I would say this, if my adopted father, Harry, was alive, he would have gone to a contested convention.
Your adopted father, Harry Reid, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. But it's funny, you're attacking her IQ. That sounds a bit Trumpian. Is that how you plan to run against her? Similar style?
Because you've never seen a strong, aggressive Democrat in the last decade? Well, welcome to one.
No, I mean, it's a style. It's a vibe. I mean, this is, I think, what people expect from politics nowadays after Trump. I think there is a feeling that, like, you have to punch people in the eye.
No. I don't punch people in the eye.
I mean, calling someone low IQ, EQ is kind of, it's rough.
Well, why? Because it's factually accurate?
Sure, if you think that.
I do.
Yeah, it's just a personal attack.
I honestly do. I think she is tone deaf. She's never signed the front of a check. I met with Waltz, too. The guy doesn't have two nickels to rub together.
What do you mean by she's never signed the front of a check? Like, she just never had a real job? Or what do you mean?
She's not only she's not created jobs. She can't even keep staff. Come on, you know this.
Mm-hmm.
You are judged by, I've had people that have worked with me 20, 30, 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I create an environment of team, culture. I take care of guests. You say voters, they're customers.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I've heard you use that phrase before, that you call voters customers. And yeah, I was wondering what that came from.
What it comes from, because I polled the people of the state of California to see where their heads were at. Mm-hmm. What do they like? What's impeding them from doing good business? What's impeding their lives? What are they not getting out of the tax dollars they're spending? It's no different than buying a consumer good. Don't you want to get equal or greater value to what you're spending your money on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I think that's an interesting way to put it in terms of customers, because, like, you're right. I mean, as a taxpayer, you are paying. Excuse my dog. So I said, as a taxpayer, you are paying, for a service, right? And so you should be.
So don't you want your streets clean? Don't you want the potholes filled? Don't you want your lights to be on? Don't you want your home to be safe? Your children to be going to school where they're safe and they get a good education? Don't you want these things? Isn't that what you're paying your tax dollars for? Why aren't we holding ourselves accountable for the money that we're spending to get value received for that money? Well, I mean, for example, if you bought something from a store and you didn't get value for it, would you return it? You would.
Yeah, yes, I would, for sure.
Yes, you would. Good. So let's return the politicians that we voted in office because they failed us.
Right. I do want to go back to the politicians that we voted in office that they failed us. I mean, you did also say that, you called Kamala Harris and her campaign low EQ, low IQ. How would you do it differently?
Well, I do it differently. I polled the customer of California and I asked them, what is bothering you? When I create a brand, no different than Diamond Resorts or even the brand of the United States,
but I mean,
Brand
her
USA.
Campaign, like, how have you done it differently? How would you have done that differently?
Oh, I would have listened to the customers of the United States of America, and I would have talked about the most important issues that bother them the most. Affordability, eggs, bread, gas, milk, cheese.
And you don't think she did that?
100% no.
Okay.
Tone deaf, low EQ, low IQ. Same thing on immigration. If you want to talk about immigration, What, she went to the border once? What did she do demonstratively to change the topic of immigration in the United States? How come we have so many undocumented folks within the United States? We just opened our borders up. We just opened our borders way up, okay? And I have no problem, as I've said numerous times, and I have a massive heart and have protected farm workers that need to be protected. But I can tell you this, fill out your paperwork properly. Follow the law. Even in California, I have a problem going from Proposition 47 to 36 and not 36 going far enough. We don't steal. $950, that's still okay to steal? No, it's zero. And if you find that MAGA-esque or Republican, it's not. It's the eighth commandment. We don't steal.
Yeah. It's funny. You sound like a Bill Clinton Democrat meets Trump Republican. But like, will Democratic voters today reject that message? Parties change so much.
I don't think we have a choice but to find a new brand in the Democratic Party. California's not affordable, livable, or workable. Okay? It's not.
Yeah.
And we have to find a way to balance the budget. And in California, over the last decade, we have 45,000 new government jobs with no performance and results. What about the California Department of Performance and Results with warmth and compassion, also known as CPR, which the state needs?
Honestly, you really sound like a Republican running on a Democratic ticket, because that might be the only way to win in California. Is that fair to say?
Well, maybe that is fair to say, but I can tell you the following. There's a wide lane in the center that nobody has captured, and I think I've captured that imagination, because if you look at my contributors, I have contributors on both sides. I'm a Californian raised here with California values. I'm the bravado in the center that has not existed, and I'm not afraid. Nobody intimidates me, and I'm proven. I don't need to do this. I'm doing this for my children and everyone else's kids. I did not intend to do this.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like Gavin Newsom pushed the state to the center. Would you agree with that? Or how do you think he's pushed people into this place where they're more open into politicians that come from a more center-left perspective?
California was that when I grew up here. That's the way it was. I mean, Reagan, Brown, we've been polarized over the last couple decade and a half. I mean, where did it start? I don't know. But unfortunately, we have this vitriolic behavior that's so loud on both sides. And I'm getting attacked from both sides, by the way, which says I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm that hard center. I'm the hard center.
Were you ever a donor or supporter of Gavin Newsom's?
Yes, of course. He's a dear friend.
Oh, but do you blame him for the place that California is in right now?
I don't blame anybody for what they've done. Because I don't blame people. I mean,
but it's their job. Like, say I lived in California and I voted for you and you didn't do a good job, I would blame you if you are the person in power. So basic.
But you
someone
say
has to take accountability.
Well, it's really simple. I take responsibility for my actions. I take all the incoming bullets and my team gets the trophy. I'm not going to sit here and criticize Gavin. We did this together. I'm not one person that can just criticize somebody. We collectively did it. We voted him in office. Why am I one individual? What's that? What do you mean makes no sense? That makes
no sense. Like, he's the chief executive of your state. Who else do you blame?
He does things very differently than I would do it. You want me to go bash Gavin right now?
No, I don't. I'm wondering, are you going to run on the same platform as him? Are you going to do the same things that he did if you don't blame him?
100% no.
Okay.
We absolutely lead with very different styles. I saw him last week. We had a very nice chat.
This is just kind of like reminding me of like how Kamala Harris couldn't criticize Joe Biden. Like, are you running on change or are you not?
Oh, 100% change. But I'm not going to criticize him personally as a human being.
So how do you make your case?
With the way he operates?
Yeah, like, how do you make your case? Like, this was not done right, and this is how I'm going to do it without implicitly criticizing him.
It's really simple. Gavin thinks he's smarter than everyone else. I don't. Okay, Gavin thinks it's his money. I don't. Okay, we're a proposition state. It's the people's choice. It's the people's money. And you got to be a good steward of the capital, and you can't be smarter than the people. Do what the people want. Show them performance and results. And you know what? Gavin's not doing that. Is that what you want to hear?
No, yeah. I mean, I think that's what the voters would want to hear if they were thinking about who they were going to, who they're going to put their
I'm not running against Gavin. Gavin's done.
You're running you're running against status quo because his lieutenant governor is running, and you're running against the former vice president. And are you running for change? Like, that's what you have to decide.
It's 100% change. It's a new way, a simple way, a better way. 100% change. This is somebody who's come in that's proven, that can solve problems, that's not afraid to face hard situations, that has actually done it before. There's not one other person that's running right now that's signed the front of a check. No, one other person that's created jobs. They're careerists.
I mean, there are others who are running that have the I'm obviously, I don't live in the guy who ran for mayor. I'm blanking on his name right now. He's also running.
Rick Russo's not running for governor. He hasn't announced he's running for governor.
I mean, there's talk that he might.
Good, do it. I went to high school with him. He was a senior. I was in ninth grade.
What did you think about him then? What was he like in high school?
Well, he was a senior and I was in ninth grade, and we were on speech and debate together. I got excellency. I got excellence. He got honors.
That's definitely something to use against him in debate.
I don't know. Every time I meet Rick, he goes, "Hi, nice to see you."
Yeah.
Excuse me. That was a joke, because he doesn't say that. He goes, "Nice to meet you." Ooh. Like he's never met me before. I'm like, give me a break, Rick.
Maybe because you were the undergrad, the younger one in the class.
No, oh come on, no. He came from a well-to-do family. He inherited his money. I had to earn it the hard way.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk to you about immigration because this is such an important topic, especially for your state. Estimated 1.8 million undocumented immigrants. This is a big deal for a state like yours where a lot of them work in your labor force, particularly agriculture. How do you work with Trump on his policy of like mass deportation raids when it's so critical to your state workforce to have migrant workers coming in?
Okay, well, I speak with people all over the spectrum on immigration. I'm pretty fluid on this, being head of tourism in the United States, because I work with the State Department and Homeland Security and Customs and Borders. We've got to get our nomenclature correct, okay? We have asylum, and a lot of us have come from a lineage of asylum seekers. Then we have folks that have come into this country that have not filled out paperwork properly, that have not followed our rules. I have zero tolerance for that. Zero. If you have come into this country properly and you are undocumented, because there are people that have been here, quote, undocumented, that means they don't have their longtime permanent resident card yet, okay, which is a green card, which is a pathway to citizenship. Those folks need to get documented, okay? And I've said this on the record many, many, many times. We need to get those folks documented as quick as possible and adjudicated.
What's the holdup?
Well, the holdup is we don't have enough judges. We don't have enough lawyers and enough judges.
So Trump's right to get more judges and lawyers in the ICE system?
I said the same thing to Biden and Harris. I said this on record at the United Farm Workers Convention a year ago. I would hire thousands of judges right now to bring them on board to get those undocumented documented properly. And by the way, they must also follow our laws. Okay? You can't have violated our laws. You're here on probation. You have to assimilate into this country just like my grandfather and grandmother did. All right? And then you have a whole different classification of transient workers, okay, with a different visa status. And then you've got young adults that are here getting educated. And why would we educate all of these adults from around the world and then throw them out? Why would we do that? that makes no sense. That's why we need formal immigration policy, and we're damn close. But Trump grabbed that rein and allowed the Republicans to take that entire conversation into their world, and some of the Democrats were not strong enough. There was bipartisan support, a matter of fact, and it was like 80% okay, and we should have been okay with that. It's okay because you're not going to get 100%, and there's been a purity test in the Democratic Party where they've got to get everything right, and it goes back to my conversation with you of those that have never signed the front of a check. You're never going to get to 100%, okay? I'm okay with 75, 80% and fixing the last 20, 25% as you go. Pivot. And this is the disconnect, and that's why we need to come back to the hard center. I mean, I got a problem with both sides being patrollic with each other. I'm trying to do something nobody's ever done before, which just seems to be a theme in my life. When I got the airport approved in Las Vegas, when I created the tourism department of the United States, these are very difficult situations. When I fixed Sunterra, a 20-year broken company. Yeah. Everyone bet against me each time. And you know, you want to yell and scream at me, and I'm just going to lower my voice and try to get us back to the center.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So, like, to actually do that, which I think what you're saying is you want to turn illegal immigrants into legal, you know, citizens, immigrants in this country. How do you do that when President Trump is in office right now?
Well, first of all, don't ever use the word illegal. Okay, because that's something that the Republicans have taken away, and everyone's illegal. That is not true.
People who have not filed the asylum process have not gone through the asylum. The people who don't have a status in the country that is legal.
Let's
people
go
who
back.
don't have a legal status in the country.
There's asylum, and then there's immigration.
Asylum is a legal status. That is a legal status.
That is, and so is filling out proper legal immigration. Yeah. Asylum is just one bucket.
I'm talking about people who haven't done that.
People who have not filed their paperwork properly?
Yeah, or filed asylum.
If you don't follow the law, asylum or immigration, I'm saying
both. I'm saying people who haven't done either of those things.
People who have not filled out their paperwork properly and legally, you get your day in court, bye-bye. Mm-hmm. Simple. Mm-hmm. If you break our laws and can't follow the laws as you come into this country, you get your day in court, bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. And how do you prevent the abuse of asylum?
Look, that's why we have adjudication. Mm-hmm. Let the judges decide that. Mm-hmm. How do you prevent that?
What's your relationship like with President Trump right now? Because if you were to be, you know, the chief executive of one of the largest economies in the world, frankly, California, what kind of relationship would you guys have?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. He and I have had a long-standing relationship. We know each other by personal first name. We have each other's cell phone numbers.
Okay. And when was the last time you guys talked?
I texted him a couple weeks ago.
Did he respond?
No, he's not going to respond because I put him on a text chain with him and Gavin Newsom. So
why? Why would you put them on a text chain together?
Because I'm trying to make Hollywood again. And I gave them a suggestion to work with each other, to be thoughtful.
And what was your suggestion?
Well, it's really simple. When you've got, as a comparative analysis, Georgia, that has a $563 billion GDP, and they are incenting their entertainment industry by $1.3 billion. If you do the inverse math of that, California has a $4.1 trillion GDP. California could actually afford to incentivize Hollywood with $9.47 billion just to be competitive.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Math.
What did he? Yeah, and he never got back to you guys on either of this, I'm guessing.
No, he came up with a tariff against Europe for Hollywood. You know, whatever. Look. There's Undercover Boss and The Apprentice are very similar shows. They both end up in tears. Mm-hmm. Mine are happy, his are not. I don't know what to tell you. Look, I come from a world of service. Mm-hmm. I serve. I roll up my sleeves. I serve. She likes to be served. It's different. I will fight for California. No other person that's running for office will be able to do that. I sat across the table from him numerous times to do the Trump Tower in Vegas. We had a mutual architect. And I came away with that meeting and I'm like, Joel, was Joel Bergman, God rest his soul. I said, Joel, I can't do it. I can't do it. I've got values. He doesn't. I've got integrity. He doesn't. I pay my contractors. You know that. He doesn't. I'm not going to ruin my brand associating myself with him. I've been with him in social situations. He's Palm Beach. I'm the West Coast.
But you're going to have to work with him, you know?
Of course, but I have no problem working with him. Mm-hmm. I have no problem unifying. I also know that we have a $94 billion surplus given to the federal government. I'm offense. I don't resist. I'm offense. We use it properly.
Yeah. Oh, so it's interesting.
By the way, just to let you know, it was funny. There was a U.S. senator that said to me when I was contemplating running for governor, and all my friends said, well, why are you doing this? And I'm doing it because you won't. She said to me, why don't you just run for president? I'm like, what are you talking about, Senator Gillibrand? What are you talking about? She goes, no, you don't understand. You're going to get good name ID, but I just want to see one thing. You debate Donald, because that would be pay-per-view TV. That would be 60 great. Million plus. I mean,
you could come back on the show and debate him. I'll do that. I'll set it up.
Set it up. Let's go.
Let's do it. We'll text him, group chain.
Let's go. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to do it. It's fine with me.
I'm not afraid either.
Good. I like that. Because you're Jersey.
Exactly. That's why. Scrappy.
I like it.
All right. Well, I've got to ask you, though. You've long said that Democrats, they can't villainize the rich. That was something you've been saying for a long time. But it sounds like
somebody was looking at my Stephanie Rule interviews.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Did a little research on you.
She's my sis, so be nice.
Oh, I like her a lot. Yeah, I go on her show from time to time. Yeah.
She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah, she's great. But the anti-oligarchy tour that's really blowing up right now among the Democratic base is like the Bernie AOC thing. They're going around and they're drawing huge crowds all over the country. If you want to win a Democratic primary, like you're going to have to appeal to this message as well. Like, so how do you marry the two?
Well, guess what? In California, it's top two and it's open. It's not a typical primary. It's a jungle primary.
That's true.
So if it was a normal primary, I wouldn't be doing this. No way. I lean into what I've become. I did not expect to get to where I got. I'm proud of it. I want everyone to do well. I want to be the Papa Bear and protector. Like, I really need to do this? No, I want to do this because I need a job. I don't have a job.
You could work for me. I'm hiring.
I'll get your coffee.
I write checks notes now, okay?
Oh, good. I was told I'm unhirable. I did submit my resume. No,
you sound like an HR liability, but we'll get to that one later.
No. HR, an HR liability? What are you talking about?
There's a few write-ups about you online. But I do want to get back to this. Like, how are you going to like really how do you marry these ideas? I understand what you're saying.
If you don't like the authenticity, okay, of who I am and what I believe in with my big heart, my warmth and compassion, okay, I take care of people. But you know what? I tell the truth. I have integrity. And if you don't like what I have to say, go look in the mirror.
Now, I do want to ask you, though, about this report in Vanity Fair about your ex-girlfriend and how she managed to, like...
The con. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
go talk to Bill, your buddy Bill. So, as Bill, what Bill thinks of me. So, Bill would say the following. Okay, because I asked Bill, because he said, oh, my God, I guess I'm going to get a lot of phone calls. I said, hey, Bill, I'm sitting at a hotel in New York. Somebody walks by and
who are you talking about, Bill?
Bill Cohen.
Yeah.
Vanity Fair. From what?
He wrote that piece. Oh, he wrote that piece. Oh, okay. Got it.
So anyway, you got to talk to him. So he says, I guess I'm going to get a lot of calls. And I go, yeah, what are you going to say? He says, well, I talked to a lot of people and, interviewed hundreds, maybe 1,000 people. He said, I've never met anyone that's more candid, transparent, has a bigger set of brass balls than you, Cloobeck.
Yeah.
Because I wrote that piece. I had that piece written. Everything you see, I did. I got extorted. You won't get extorted with me.
I mean,
ever.
That's also like a public relations thing as well when you're dealing with a case like this. I mean, it sounds like this woman who was an OnlyFans model. Yeah. She used your credit card to buy 100 bikinis, and she seemed to have she stole $1.3 million from you at least. But then how can you expect California voters to think that you're a good steward of their tax dollars when this woman was able to schnooker you?
She didn't steal $1.3 million. What you got of nonsense?
That's according to court documents. I mean, that's in your own court documents. You claim that she robbed you.
She ended up giving every single thing back to me and an apology letter. Go look online because I read it. The apology letter, okay? I did not spend $1 to any of her attorneys, and she had done this to 5 other people. And the best thing is she wrote a letter to Bill asking him to take the article down. And then Bill said to her, hey, what do you care? You changed your name for the 3rd time. Come on, you deal with just extortive cons in life.
But what did you think you were getting when you were dating an OnlyFans model? No offense.
Even know
OnlyFans models watching
with
this.
With all due respect, I didn't know what Discord, Reddit, OnlyFans was. You know what she told me it was? She told me the following. All the celebrities are doing it. What do I know? Too trusting? Yes. Well, guess what? I'm newly
the back pages for the internet.
Well, I'm like, guess what? I'm newly divorced. I don't know anything about social media and all this kind of stuff. I just learned about knowing the assignments, slaying, rizzing, and crashing out. All these new words. Come on.
Now you have a lot of political consultants that you can ask for advice, but you have to admit, California voters are going to wonder, how could this guy get scammed by a 26-year-old?
You know what? I can tell you dozens of people that have come up to me and said, you know what? I got ripped off. I got taken advantage of, and I paid extortion fee and that. You know what? It happens to the best of us.
I guess it's matters of love, right?
Oh, matters of love or deceit. I don't know. I couldn't imagine ever a woman would be so deceitful and so such a con. I've never seen these things in my life. But you know what? That dating world's pretty tough out there.
Yeah, it's not easy for anyone. Certainly not.
And by the way, I got background checks now, screening. Oh, I've got a whole potpourri.
Yeah, you have to, especially if you become governor and you're a single guy. You got to be careful.
Yeah. It's called taking care of the state and take care of my kids. That's what I've been doing these days.
Yeah. So have you been dating since or no?
No. We have no time. We're 5 a.m. to midnight. We're working and taking care of the kids.
I understand that. Yeah. Also, if you want to run a campaign, it takes a lot of time, and not a lot of people want to get involved in that. It's a bit of a thing. Yeah. Okay. Well,
total commitment.
I want to thank you for your time. This was a really interesting chat. And let's see how that campaign goes. I mean, I saw some recent polling, and Kamala Harris is really crushing it right now in the polls. She's leading the pack. You're still a little, you're still growing.
Well, it depends. What are you doing?
You're growing up the polls, but it's hard to, you're going up against someone with huge name ID. So
I know it, and you'll see some interesting things with my book being released. Stephanie Rule is announcing my book this next week. That's exciting. I have a podcast that'll be released in a week.
Oh, so you're launching a podcast like Gavin's? Okay.
With who? iHeartRadio.
Cool. That'll be fun.
It's the Ryan Seacrest team. Amy
Good for
Sugarman.
you.
Amy
That's
Sugarman.
Awesome.
And
I'll come on your show as a guest.
Oh, so I'll get to abuse you like you're trying to abuse me.
Exactly. That's how it works. It's called a home and home. Home abuse and then home abuse. That's what we call it in the business.
You're hysterical. So I do have a poll of a lunch sextant poll that's a little bit different than what you're looking at.
What's your lunch poll say? By the way, for all of our listeners, lunch polls are the premium polls. This is like what Kevin McCarthy, when he was Speaker of the House, he would use them. So he paid a lot of money for that poll. This isn't shit, is what I'm trying to say. But it is an internal poll, and sometimes they like to make things look good for their bosses.
Frank doesn't want me to do this.
Okay.
Frank's been with me 29 years. We've worked together on public-private stuff. But Frank's becoming increasingly more of a fan. Right now, my bio tests 27%, very likely.
You think that Democrats want another rich guy in office?
No, why do you demonize success?
I don't demonize it at all. I'm asking a legitimate question. I think.
By the way,
I think success is great.
Good. It's wealthy, not rich. Okay, there's a difference.
I'm rich in spirit. You're wealthy.
I'm rich in heart.
Good for you. Okay, so but really, how is this going to translate?
Look, it's going to come down to right now, things are so bad in California with affordability, livability, and workability. Seriously, they want performance and results. They, meaning the customers of California. We've had enough. Look, everyone is really at that breaking point. We're at that tipping point, okay? The leaders that we've elected to office have failed us. Look what's just happened with these fires. What a travesty. And then you have leaders that tell untruths. How many times can you continue to hear the diversion and the untruths? People want authenticity. They want results and performance. And we're really at that point.
Okay, I think that's a good point to land the plane. In your case, the private plane. Thank you for coming on.
I sold my private plane, please. I'm flying.
Did you buy it from Qatar, though? That's the real question.
No, that would be a problem. No, I was never gifted a plane. No.
Okay.
And by the way, that would be the people's plane to California when I'm governor of California. So Just remember this.
When I need a ride.
when I've given plenty of people rides because I'm that
I'll
guy.
Call you.
So
this is the people's plane. Pick me up. I'm in Venice Beach, okay?
So just remember, Gavin has an expiration, which coincides with my birth date.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
All right. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. And we'll check in with you as this campaign continues.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Okay. Thanks for watching the Tara Palmeri Show. I want to thank my producer, Eric Aminate, my booker, Jane Fusco, my team of researchers and social media. That's Abby Baker, Luke Radel, and Sarah Carney. I'll be back again this week, but you can always find my reporting by going to tarapalmeri.com. That's TARAPALMERI.com, and signing up for my newsletter, The Red Letter, where you will get my exclusive reporting straight to your inbox. See you again soon.